So hey guys, today I'm going to show you guys why I think a dragon deck could never be considered meta. So first off, we're going to start with I guess the funny. So we'll do five-headed dragon. So not much to say. This is five-headed dragon. It cannot be destroyed by battle with dark, earth, water, fire, or wind monsters, which is basically like every monster pretty much. Uh, so it must be fusion summoned. Cool. And you must use five dragon monsters. Also cool. So yeah. So super polymerization. Discard one card. Fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as fusion material. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. So in other words, I can super poly, which you cannot respond to, you cannot do anything about, and this will immediately turn all of your boards into a 5k beating. Well, assuming you have like 5 dragon monsters or so on your field. So, there goes your entire board, I suppose. Alright, so next we have Fallen of Albaz with no effect that really matters here, specifically, but with Alba Lenitus here. We have cannot be used as fusion material, must be either fusion summoned or special summoned by sending the above cards from any monster zones to the graveyard. So it is a Fallen of Albaz plus 1+ dragon monsters. So we could use anywhere from just 1 dragon monster to 6 dragon monsters to make Alba Lenitus with. And it has this effect that I don't remember, it just kind of doesn't work when you send cards to the graveyard. From what I remember, you don't get extra attacks, oddly enough, but hardly matters. What is important here is, once again, I just can do like set Fallen of Albaz, and then if you don't have a way to deal with that Albaz, all of a sudden your entire board, it's gone. Just straight up gone. And you know what's even funnier? This here is actually not an effect, it's a summoning condition, similar to a kaiju, which says you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field in an attack position by tributing one monster they control. So this effect can be used to tribute over, of course, a Towers monster. Abolenitus, that this should technically be able to do the same then. So yeah, this will be able to tribute over a Dragon Towers monster if it existed as well. So assuming a Dragon Towers monster did exist and it had some sort of interactions tied to it, it gets outed by Alba Lenitus as well. And you know what's even more messed up? Fallen of Albaz plus Super Polymerization is so insanely playable together. And it would already be played together in Branded, so yeah, this matchup is just going to absolutely cook you. And you know, if this got splashed into a deck, you're not doing so hot either. So that's just a little bit of an issue if you're playing a dragon deck. I suppose, you know, just 2 different ways to essentially contact views and completely cook your deck and make it unplayable, I guess. Technically, I guess honorable mention to Dark Magician here, that can make literally just Dragoon. And the reason you can make Dragoon is because Dragoon requires any Dark Magician plus a Dragon effect monster. So you can kind of do the same thing with Super Poly here. Although you will have to have Dark Magician on the field as well, which somehow makes a card like Magician Souls look threatening, or like Eternal Soul also look somewhat threatening, which is kind of wild, I suppose. There are other targets as well, if I recall correctly, like Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, Amulet Dragon, just whatever. There's just a bunch of random super poly targets you could get hit with, potentially, which would be obviously problematic if you're playing a dragon deck, I suppose. If you were playing dark dragons, then you also have additional kind of weaknesses with Starving Venom Fusion Dragon and some of these red plant Kai dragons as well, like Triffy Overtone as well, would be kind of threatening. Being able to contact fuse, well, with these options, we have the idea of contact fusing 2 of your monsters or 3. Although in this case, if you had a genuinely unaffected monster, it would be fine against Super Poly at least. So that's something. And this is still only the tip of the iceberg, I suppose, because we have still other options like Zombie World. All monsters on the field and in the graveyards become zombie monsters. Neither player can tribute summon except for zombie monsters. So now all of a sudden, there are no such things as dragons. They're mythological creatures. What are you talking about? Well, that's what happens when you activate Zombie World anyways, so yeah, your deck ceases to function. So this is Zombie World, I guess. So with certain decks at the moment, we have like Dragon Link, which basically abuses generic Dragon Links, which require dragon monsters, which no longer exist because of Zombie World. So that strategy kind of unplayable with Blue Eyes. You can do a little bit if you specifically have access to Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons, but aside from this, you can no longer special summon Spirit with Eyes of Blue because spellcasters aren't real, dragon monsters also aren't real because of Zombie World. So that's actually going to just cook you, I suppose. And these are just some techs that completely cook dragons, and I believe there is actually also a Snatch Steal type effect. So let's go ahead and check that out. Dragon control opponent monster. Narrow this further down with trap. Should be one of these, I believe. Let's see. Was it a normal trap? Red Cauldron. Hiding Mirage. Passion to Endlessness. This is really hard to look through. Let's go a little bit further here to normal trap, I believe, and look for anything that mentions dragons. And let's see. Time to stand up. What is that card actually? Synchro Call. Search Stored Memories. There's also actually, if I recall correctly, what was that card called again? It was like something like Sangan Tyler or something. Don't remember the exact name of the card. But there's a card that just straight up returns all of the dragon monsters on the field back into the deck. There was that card as well, actually. Once I find the card I'm looking for here, I guess. Supreme Rage, yep, sure. Bonding, yugioh, nope. This takes a hot minute, I guess. Is this even a normal trap, or is it a continuous? Could be a continuous, actually, couldn't it? It might be a continuous. Is it a continuous? Dragon Capture Jar. Change all face-up dragon-type monsters on the field to defense position. Also, you cannot change the battle position. Is this the right card? I might have mistaken this for something else then. Well, whatever, it's fine. This is just effective against, like, Tenpai specifically. I got it twisted with something else, but alright. What was this called again? It's something to do with, I guess, fairy and then dragons. Oh, Kaio Reigetsu. Yeah, this card right here. Special summon a level 4 lower fairy spellcaster winged beast or beast warrior monster from your hand. And if you do equip it with this card, then you can return all dragon monsters on the field to the hand. This card, kind of usable, honestly, just a little bit, but this will just out all the dragon monsters on the field. And if you have destruction protection, it'll still bypass it. And if you have target protection, it'll bypass that also. So, yeah. Just randomly a card that completely cooks dragons. I mean, granted, you do have to be playing one of the somewhat, like, I guess one of these listed kind of types in your deck, but the fact that this is surprisingly reasonable to activate at all, this just cooks you for no real reason, I guess. So technically, if I were playing Pearly, I'd be able to play this. We even have ideas like, let's see. Special summon with Pearly Happy Memory for a Lily. For a Lily can add a Pearly card from your deck to your hand, except for a quick play spell. So we can add Pearly, or we can add My Friend Pearly to reveal 3 Pearly cards from our deck. In this case, it'll be 3 copies of Pearly. And if we already have Pearly in the hand, we don't need to do this, but, you know, activate Kaio Reigetsu, and then... Yeah, you're a bit cooked here. And this is ridiculously consistent to have a fairy monster in your hand. It's just mostly trying to get access to this card here. But, you know, if you did have it, this would just bounce back all dragon monsters on the field to the hand. And this happens all in like one motion, basically. So there's one chain here. And then all of this happens kind of sequentially. So it does not return on new chains, so you can't just like remove the monster special summoned by this. And then for some reason this also searches a polymerization spell, fusion spell, or fusion parasite from your deck to your hand during the end phase, which I'm not sure if this really matters. But, you know, the effect's there, I suppose. So, we have these ideas. And then, well, while we're here, I guess we can throw in one more. So, we have Protos, which is, you know, just fine. But, if you notice something about Protos is a dark monster. Eschatos is a dragon. So since this is inherently a dragon, it's much easier to call a dragon on Eschatos to deal with dragon decks. Versus, you know, if we were caring about attribute, you could be playing like Light Dragon, Dark Dragon, Fire Dragon, Water Dragon, Wind Dragon, whatever. And Arch Nemesis Eschatos just covers all types of dragons. So if we were playing a wind deck, it would be kind of a pain, honestly, to put a wind monster on the field and then declare the effect to prevent the summoning of any wind attribute monsters. And the same would apply to, for example, like Psychic with Eschatos. You would have to get Eschatos in hand, special summon Eschatos, and then you'd need a Psychic monster. But, you know, in case your opponent is playing a dragon deck, it's pretty simple to just summon Eschatos, and then you don't have to summon anything else. You can just declare dragon straight up. So, yeah, this is kind of a problem for your deck. So, yeah, this is why I think dragon is inherently already in disadvantage, like dragon focused decks, because of all of these above factors, I guess. So with Tenpai in particular being a going second deck, you're a little bit better off against specifically, I guess it'll be Super Poly is kind of like 50-50, honestly. Kaio Reigetsu, not that much of a problem because you're not really making an inboard, I guess. With Fallen of Albaz here, setting this will still kind of cook you. Summoning Fallen of Albaz on your opponent's turn, also able to cook you, I suppose. So we have ideas of like Mirror Jade, sending Rinbrom, bringing back Fallen of Albaz, to then make Albalenitis Contact Fusion, which I didn't technically mention before, but that's another usage of Fallen of Albaz that will completely cook just Dragon decks in general. And well, worth mentioning, I guess, honorable mention to Crab Planet Verde Anaconda, which, if you were playing this, you can send Branded Fusion, copy its effect, using Verde Anaconda plus Fallen of Albaz to make Mirror Jade, and then you can send Rimvrom on the next turn to summon Fallen of Albaz, which is like a 4-card, I guess, little combo. It takes like 4 cards, extra deck commitment, 2 in the main to do that tech, I guess. And it's pretty reasonable, pretty doable. So yeah, that's something to kind of be aware of if you were playing a dragon deck. That's something generically playable. So yeah, I mean, not all of these cards are generically playable, but there's enough to make this problematic. And while we're here, might as well honorable mention to Cyber Dragon and Chimera Tech Fortress doing the same thing to machine decks, making those also kind of moot point as well. Like, you just have options to get completely cooked with, I would argue, little to no counterplay or straight up no counterplay. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.